Hello and welcome. This is Rick Baxter with Cost Control Software. Today we're going to take a look at Production Scheduler for Dynamics NAV. I'm going to be your presenter. Yep, that's my picture of me up there. We're going to call this a day in the life of a scheduler. So we're going to take several examples of what it would be like for someone on the shop floor using this software. Let's get started right away. I have a couple goals that I want to be sure you understand for today. First thing is I certainly want to do an excellent software presentation for you. I think this will be about 60, maybe 40 to 60 minutes in length, so sit back, relax as we go through this. But I really want to do a very nice presentation for you, make sure you understand the product. And then number two, very important, is help you decide if the product is right for you. And that's hopefully the reason why you're watching this video. Let's get started right away. I'm going to move down. You may or may not have this study guide. If you don't, you can certainly request it from myself through our website or just give us a phone call. We're going to start very early in the morning at 6:30. We're going to review all the new sales orders or production orders that have come in over the night. So let's move this out of the way. I want to kind of give you a little orientation to the software. Let's start back at the main menu, which is our Roll Center. So this is our Manufacturing Plus Roll Center. It's grouped with our production orders, the four different types of production orders. You'll notice a lot more release production orders than firm planned or simulated. But let's kind of start with the concept of reviewing either sales orders or production orders. So the shop foreman or whoever's doing your scheduling is going to come in and kind of look at the list, see if there's anything new in there, either on the firm planned or maybe even back on the release production orders. And notice I use two different ways to get to my information. I can use the menu here on the right, or I can actually just use the tiles right on the Roll Center and click here, and it takes me basically to the same place. So they're going to review these individual production orders, look at cost, look at the actual cost, whatever it might be, see if there's anything new on the list. Now that's kind of the first step, but then what they really will look for is standby. In other words, the standby, the new orders basically go onto the scheduling board in a standby work center. So they don't just appear in the overall scheduling board. You'll see that in a moment. But we really want to see the new orders in the standby list. So that happens at 7 o'clock. Let's go simulate that. What I'm going to do is actually just put a new order in the system. And then let's go check the standby to be sure that it's showing up. So this is the first thing that's going to happen. I'm going to put let's do a firm plan. So I'm going to do a firm plan order. I'm going to add it manually. Now, a lot of you will probably add these firm plan orders from either running the MRP process or from sales orders or from some other source. To expedite it here a little bit, I'm going to just kind of key in an order. I'm going to use my FG606 item, and we're going to say we'll make 650. I don't know what run size you would have on your production. It might be a quantity of 1, it might be 10, it might be 1,000, 10,000, no idea. So I'm just going to put 650 to kind of get us started here. The due date, notice I'm recording this, so it came in with today's date, 2/14, but I'm going to actually say not in February. Let's go out towards the end of March, like the 27th of March. When I do that, it calculates the target end date, which is my closing time on the day before. So my calendars are set up to give me a 1-day grace period, so it closes on the finishes on the 26th. Now, because I'm running this manually, I do need to refresh the production order. If it came in from MRP, you really wouldn't need to run this step to backward calculate those dates. But let's just run it real quickly here, and you'll see it's now entered a new line with the due date. The ending date is the 26th, same as what you saw up here, and the start date is 3/4. Now, how did it get this start date of the job of 3/4? Very simple. let's look at the routing. So we're going to go and take a peek at the routing. Now some of this is coming up on my other screen. There we go. So here's the routing, the 26, but remember I said it's backward scheduled, so it kind of go boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, each of these operations. And though, so it calculates the starting on the 4th. Now that's all based on the setup and runtime, and certainly the quantity to produce the amount of time. Okay, the expected capacity need is what it's called, the amount of time that it's going to need here. And notice too the rates, and this is all in minutes. The rate per minute is calculated, and it extends and gives us our expected operational cost per line item. And at the back on the, if you notice back here on the production order, let me move this over a little bit. On the production order, it actually shows us the expected cost for that capacity cost and material cost, which is here in the components. So let's bring up the list of components, and you'll see this is the material list, and their costs and extended amounts are shown here. Pretty short material list, but you're getting hopefully the idea of where the statistics is coming from, as well as then the total cost. Oh, and look, there is even some subcontract cost as well on this production order. For total cost, divides by, of course, the 650 to give me my cost per unit of $66.36. So all of that is pretty much standard, coming in automatically. Now, because this is a new production order, it has not been scheduled yet. In fact, you can even see it here in the standby. So it's showing right here in standby for this single production order. But where I really want you to see this is also back here on the large scheduling board. So I'm going to open up our Planner One production scheduler. And I'm a little constrained by size of my screen when I do these recordings, so just be aware that the screen size is kind of, it's tight. I would normally have this on a very large resolution screen when I'm showing or using the software. Let's go up to the top. Here's our standby as we described in the diagram. So these are the operational steps that now need to be scheduled. Now I'm showing, as far as these colors, let me just mention very briefly here in the colors. These operation colors are currently shown by a work order, but maybe I would want to see it by item, or maybe I would want to see it so all the items that are the same are grouped together, or maybe I want to see by advanced delay which ones are on time or delayed. We'll get some color indication that way. These dark greens are good, and the lighter greens are a little bit later, and some of the other colors. I'm going to come back to that concept of colorization here. Ooh, there's a red one. That means that one's late. So we want those kind of alerts, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do is we're going to take this out of standby, and we are going to schedule that operation. Let's go back. So what the scheduler is going to do, this is now seeing this list here, and I think it's now time at 7:30 is when he runs the schedule function. And what that is going to do is take and move any of the release production orders or firm plan production orders and move them onto the scheduling board by just simply running the function for schedule. Let's go ahead and do that. And so from the scheduler, and in fact before I do this, it will show up better if I do this. I want to set the work colors back, and I'm going to kind of filter on this this one right here. So that's our the one that we're going to schedule, and I'm going to gray out all of the others so that we can kind of see this end of this particular one as it's moved down into the onto the board. Now realize when I'm about to do this, there's all this other work that's going on out in the shop. And so we don't want to just clobber all that other stuff that's going on. We've got to neatly tuck in these operations within the schedule, but yet optimize it so that we can maybe improve our delivery date to our customer. That's what optimization is all about. So I'm just going to say schedule. So it's going to schedule starting from today, which is the 13th. So I'm going to say OK. And it is now calculating that schedule, and it's taken them out of standby, so they're no longer here, and it's moved them down. Let's move down just a little bit. So you can see it's kind of tucked in the operations of this production order into the appropriate work centers, and actually even machine centers. So work center 150, machine center 160, which is our CNC machine 160. There's that operation. This operation 20, then here's operation 30. So it's moving through the process. Okay, so that is the first concept of basically moving it off of the new ones in the morning. That's typically what you do first thing in the morning, is that you're taking those new orders and putting them on the schedule board. Okay, now you typically, let's say it's 8 o'clock. So the next thing the scheduler is going to do, because I'm going to do this in as much of a day in the life as possible. So 8 o'clock, we're going to review the scheduling results. In other words, what happened when I moved that out down there, and make any adjustments with the move command, and then publish if needed. So let's take a look at the move command and how the scheduler can basically make changes. So here's my new production order. Actually, I'm not so interested about that anymore, so I'm going to remove that filter, and we'll look at the whole board once again. So here is all the operations on the board, and let's say we decide that one of these operations we need to move. So you basically go to what's called actions. It's here, and I'm not going to train every portion of the software. I'm just going to highlight some of the key things. So we're going to start with the move command, and then I'm going to take one of these activities, and I'm just going to move it over a couple days. So here's and by the way, my view is, it looks like it's about 4 weeks in duration with Saturday, Sunday. Each of the columns here, the grayed out columns, those are days of the week. So I'm in just right here. is I'm kind of in a month view, but you can go down to a week view or a day view depending on what level of detail that you want to schedule. I'm going to leave it a month view for right now, and I'm in the move command, so I still have move activated. And now I'm just going to say I'm going to drag, because this is the concept of a drag and drop. So I'm just moving it forward. I'm not going to change to a different machine center, although I could, but I'm going to just stay right here. And the left side is really where I'm going to drop it. So we're going to just kind of do a move, and it may optimize that just a little bit because there's an extra day in there. So it did, yeah, it kind of collapsed that a little bit and said, oh, I can actually pick up a day if I just tuck that in there close. So the software is constantly trying to run the shop as efficiently as possible, but yet giving the operator the opportunity to come in to any operation and come in and use the move and say, I'm going to take it away from Mike, and I'm going to actually push this out over here. Now that's not always the best thing to do, because if you move an operation manually like that, what are you affecting? Well, you might be affecting the following activities that, the predecessor activities for this operation, and those might have some other things going on, and they might cause additional delays throughout the software. But we wanted you to know that the scheduler does have the ability to actually come in and make some manual changes with these move operations. And I'm going to do a fixed date here in a little bit, but just be aware the scheduler can make the changes, and then certainly they can publish that and update the NAV data files. So, and that's done typically with our planning button and publication. And I just run, in fact, let me just run this one so you can see this go. We'll hit publish, and it says, do you want to publish the plan? Now, what's interesting, actually, let me cancel this for just a second because this is important too. I'm in what I call a working plan. This is a what if. What if I move this over here, and what if I move that over there? How will that impact, basically, how will that impact my service ability, my work order service ratio, I'm right now at 92% on-time delivery. But potentially if I make some of those moves, my on-time delivery might suffer because I've made not as efficient design to the schedule. Okay, just be aware that that is potential that could happen. Okay, so let's go ahead and publish. So I'm going to just run the publish function. As I do this, I want you to watch this lower right hand corner, because it's going to tell me, and it doesn't take very long, it's publishing right now. It's going to update my NAV, and it will tell us that the data has been published. So watch the lower right corner, there it goes, data sent to ERP, the plan has been published. So now my working plan and the data back in NAV are all in sync. Okay, because I've taken that what if environment and said it's no longer what if, it's what is, and this is the way it is. And so any changes that I make here are now written back. In fact, let's go back, I can show that to you. Let's go back to our firm plan production order that we just created. It's this one right here, number 101010. It's a strange number, but that's what it is. Let's take a look at that. We'll come in here and I'm going to slide over. Probably should have shown you these dates earlier, but there's some now production starting date and production ending date, which are different than the dates that NAV were calculating. So these are new dates from the production schedule, and that's what the publish is doing. It's publishing the new data. It's not interfering with the nav data, okay, the 26, but it's saying the production ending date should be on the 24th and the start date should be on the 13th. In fact, yeah, I think even the router is updated with that data. Yeah, see, we've updated the router lines with these new values that have come in from the scheduling and the optimization engine. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. All right, let's go back and we'll stay in the day of the life of our scheduler. So what happens next? So at 8:30, he gets a call from plant maintenance people saying that they need to update him on some information, because if any machine is down for maintenance suddenly on that day, you may need to adjust your schedule. So this is fairly common that you might have a machine down for maintenance or a breakdown or whatever the reason being, or an employee doesn't show up for work if you're scheduling the resources down to the employee level, and you need to adjust your schedule to reflect that that change. So let's go and do that. I'll show you how quick and easy this is. I love this part. So let's go back to the board, and we're going to open up our scheduling board, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, some machine is having maybe the belts need to be changed or an oil change or something's going on. We'll just kind of pick on our CNC machine here, and we'll say around the 21st, 22nd, something like that, we're going to have some downtime with this machine. So I simply click on the line and I go into my actions option, and there's a choice here for managing the calendars, and I just say close, and it says, okay, what period do you want to close this machine? What did I say? Around the 24th. So let's go to the 24th. Let's say 24th to Friday the 27th. So we'll go from the 24th to the 27th. There we go. And we'll say new belts. Put in a little reason why we're taking it down. And then I say add that into the schedule. Now watch what it does. Hopefully you can see this. It puts a little kind of a pink border back here behind this number, which indicates that that machine center is closed. So the duration of this work got longer. It kind of pushed the length. I call these stickers. This sticker, think of like a whiteboard and you're sticking stickers on the whiteboard. That got longer okay, because of the downtime. The work still had to be done, so this gets longer, but guess what? All the successor activities get pushed as well, and if any one of these has successor activities, which you can always kind of follow via the network diagram, so you can click on an activity and say, let me see what other activities affected with this. So if this got pushed, that one probably got pushed, and then some of these others. So this one downtime on this machine is not just affecting this one machine, it's affecting lots of operations across multiple production orders. And doing that work by hand is next to impossible. Next to impossible to physically understand all the work that has to be adjusted because of this downtime. And you probably know that from your own business, how that can impact what is happening on your shop floor. Okay, so you get the idea there. Let's go on a little further. So that's 8:30. What happens next? Any machine, oh, then if it's back in, when it comes back in service, or if it comes in service early, okay, if the machine comes, let's say they got the work done early, you want to be able to adjust that period. So you could actually come back to this machine here, go back to those actions for close the period, and then you can adjust the end date and make the appropriate changes, or you could actually just delete the whole exception completely and say, okay, no, we can't take it down, sorry, that's going to have to wait, and you delete the exception. What that does is it frees up that time. That sticker is going to get shorter because it's not down, and all the other activities move forward as well. Magically reschedules. It's doing a lot of kind of date arithmetic internally to make those changes. Okay, so a little bit on adjusting your schedule. Of course, I could publish those changes. I won't at this stage. We'll come back and do that in a minute. Okay, at 9 o'clock, a customer calls the order desk and says, move my delivery date out 7 days. Well, you've got to make a decision whether you're going to actually change things on the shop floor and move that the production around a little bit, or just leave it alone, produce it, and so forth. But if it's moving it, let's say 30 days or 60 days, you probably definitely will want to make changes on the shop floor. So what we're going to be doing is basically, and this is kind of interesting, we're going to use the MRP, and I'm just going to kind of talk through this one because I want to cover some other things too. But we let the software do what it's best at doing, which is integration between the other parts of the software. Let me move this out of the way. What I'm talking about is the customer service rep over here in the customer orders. So if there's an order on the floor and I come in and I make a change, so I pull up this order, customer says, well, that's a released one. No, let's do this. Here's the released order. Came up on my other screen. So give it just a second. I'll bring it over here so you can see this. So it's a little big. Okay, so here's the order. Get this on your screen. Here we go. And let's say the shipment date has been delayed. Now it could have multiple lines. Either I'm changing the shipment date overall, or I'm changing down on the line item the actual shipment date. So if I made a change here, then the next time you run your MPS, that's going to realize that a date change has occurred. And depending on whether you have the tolerance set for, what we call a damper period, it will affect the scheduling. It'll say update that production order with the new dates. And then, of course, once you update that production order with the new dates, the Planner 1 software, the production scheduler, is going to also magically reschedule and adjust that actual production order right here pretty much automatically. Okay, simply because it's doing that read. When you see that screen flashing like that, what it's doing is it's going out and taking another read of the data within NAV. It's, just very, so it's doing a refresh of almost every 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, so tight integration, and it's all about collaboration. In fact, I'll show you this. I think the customer service rep should actually put a flag on that sticker to indicate that maybe a change has been made. So they could come in, depending on security and who's allowed to make changes, they could come to a particular sticker here and put a message on it. So I can come in and say message and message with comment, and I can say, well, I don't want it to be an error. Let's come in and let's just say message warning. If this has changed, we will then come in. Let's put a message that this is delayed by customer. Okay, so you can put little comments throughout your system, and I don't know if you can see it on your screen here. I've got a little indicator that there's a message tagged with that, and of course when you pop up the note about that operation, the warning can say this is delayed by the customer, so you can see it right there on the screen. Pretty handy. Okay, let's go on a little further. So that's what we call collaboration and being able to flag the various stickers. Okay, 9:30. The owner comes in and says he wants to change the priority on an existing order. So increase the priority on the scheduling board, run the schedule, and publish the change. So the owner has the right to do this. In other words, increase the priority. Normally it's all schedules at an even priority level, but there's a field on the production order itself where you can change the priority of the schedule. So let's go take a look at that. So if I come back to our firm planned production order, we'll just use the one we were on. We'll go into edit mode, and you'll see a scheduling priority right here. And it defaults to a 3, but if I change it to a 1, that's going to tell the software that I want to actually give this production order a little higher priority than other production orders. You can build what I call rules into how the production system processes information. So now if the owner says, hey, move that one up, you set this to priority 1, the scheduling board is going to identify that change. The next time it flashes, you'll see it go here. Then that production order will actually be moved up sooner in the schedule, all automatically, because the rules that you have set are triggered. There it goes. Triggered to give that production order a higher priority status. That's what it's doing. Okay, so cool stuff. Break time, 10 o'clock. It's time for a break. Finally, you've been working hard here, so it's break time. Now it's 10:05. The break's over. So an employee reports that a component item was dropped and broken. Uh-oh, we got a problem. It will have to be reordered and expedited. So we have to put the next step out to a 6-day delay. We do that with a fix the start date. We can reschedule and publish. So we can actually either just do a drag and drop of that operation or do it on the nav side. You can actually do this either place at this stage. But I'm going to fix the start date on the schedule itself. So let's go do that right now. And I'll move this out of the way. So I can come into, let's say, one of these tasks, and I'm going to do a fixed date move. So this is going to be a fixed date move. So I highlight this task and watch the one above it as well. So as I move this task over just a couple days and drop it here, that's a fixed date, but there, did you see that? The upper one moved as well. So it realized, and it puts a little triangle right there, so it realized that I've got a problem on this operation because I had that. In fact, I might even want to, on this one, I might even want to put a message in here as to why that was. So I could come in and I just say add a message to it, and we would want to right here we come in and put a little comment, material broken and task delayed. Okay, so it's good to kind of put comments as to why things got moved around, so you're kind of helping document your planning board as to, so you can always review these indicators, but that basically it moved that operation out. Okay, so we'll take that off again. Show all the tasks. There we go. All right, so you've got this ability, okay, and that's pretty important. If that comes up, I'm sure this happens, is that, you know, material gets broken or it's delayed, or maybe the purchase order, the vendor calls and says, hey, I thought I'd have it there next week, but it's going to be another week before I can get it to you. You'll want to adjust your schedule and fix the start dates on those particular operations to appropriately reflect real life situations. That's what this is all about. Okay, 10:30 in the morning. Who's going to be doing the deburring? So we want to know who specifically is going to be doing the deburring on a particular operation. So we're going to use what's called the search tool and find the activity, use the tooltip to show the assigned resource. I didn't have a picture on this one, so we'll go and take a look at these concepts of the find command and then the look on a particular order. So let's move this out of the way, show you a couple new things. So first of all, there is this little binoculars right here called search. So I can search, and I can search a couple ways. All I need is something close. So I know the production order, remember, it ended in 101. So I can just type 101, and it's going to find all my production orders, and this is the one, 101010. Remember, that was the one. And I can go into then a filtered view. It adds this tab up here for this view. So here is these operations. Let me get the row a little higher here for you. So we can control the size of with the row height, so we can control the size of the stickers. And I've already forgotten what I was about to do. The tooltip. So we want to know who's going to be working on that particular operation. So I used the search function to find that particular job and then drill down to a particular activity. And then the tooltip lets me actually see more information about it. So if I hover over there, you see that little pop-up? That pop-up screen lets me see more information about that particular operation, and you can control what fields show in that tooltip. So here's the screen tip. So maybe I want to show the operation description. Maybe I want to show the resource name in there as well, and maybe I want we could have some custom fields, work order description. You kind of control the fields. You also control the sequence in which they display, so you can move things around very easily. You say OK, and so now the tooltip is going to be a little bit bigger tooltip, and it has the information displayed in there, such as the machine center that it's on, the finished good that I'm producing, the operation description, which is CNC machines, and so forth. So you're controlling the values in this tooltip with this thing called operation screen tips. Okay, is what's happening there. So pretty nice little functionality. 11 o'clock, the owner wants to expedite an order. This happens all the time. Okay, he wants you to basically open up the machine center, the CNC machine number 12, for an extra 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday, where normally it's closed. to kind of move the process along. This is almost the reverse of closing a work center. This is opening a work center and making hours of work occur, which obviously would shorten the duration of that particular work activity. So let's take a look at how that's done. Pretty straightforward. And this is only 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to come in. Let's take the highlights back off, and we will take the focus off. Actually, I'll come back over here. Okay. So what we're going to do is, let me find a good example one here. Okay, this will work right here. So here's machine CNC machine 160. Okay, notice over this weekend, this longer line, dark grayed out or slashed marks, that represents the weekend. And so what we're doing is we're able to say, okay, I'm going to, for just this one machine, starting on this weekend, I'm going to open up the work. Instead of being a closed period, I want to actually do work during this period, which will then maybe move this one forward as well. So let's go to, it looks like about 3:05. So I'm going to go into my actions and open a period. See, it's open. This is the reverse of the close that we did earlier. And I'm going to come into what I say, what was the weekend? 3:05. So we're going to come down to 3:05. Maybe it's the 7th. Starting in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Saturday, 7th, and 8th. We will make sure that we open up that weekend. We'll say add. Weekend should be later. Oh, I did a wrong month. So the following month. So I want to come out to March 8th. Okay, so I'm close, starting on the 7th, going to the 8th. I say okay. And we should see, it happened pretty fast, but what it basically is doing is it's bringing these other these other activities forward because we're more efficient. Oh, it's on this weekend. We're bringing these activities forward because it's more efficient, because this machine center is open during that period of time. So that's called opening a period. Okay, so next thing happens, that kind of will help expedite the work in that machine center for 16 hours on Saturday, 8 and 8 on Saturday and Sunday. Now I could publish again, or I could just leave it as a what if. So it may, and it does, it kind of frees up some time of the following work, and of course all the other activities out there will be forward scheduled and adjusted as well. Pretty straightforward there. Okay, 12 o'clock is lunchtime. 12:30, lunch is over, and your welder requests a printout of his schedule for next week. So he wants to see what's going on in his queue. So it's basically being able to analyze the work for a given resource in a sequential view. Let's go take a look. Here's how you do that. There is a variety of views. So I'm going to close some of these other views that are already there. We don't need that. And then I'm going to open up what's called a resource schedule. So here's my resource schedule. Hello. Let this calculate, and it's per work center. It's actually per machine center if you're using machine centers. Most of you on this call will be. So this is 110, and maybe it's either for the machine or maybe it's a person, so it could be Linda Mitchell, and she wants a printout of her upcoming work and job numbers and operations. So we simply say export to Excel, and I didn't test this, but I think I've got Excel running here, and let me open this up. Open. Okay, here we go. So it brings in the file. And you can, of course, clean up the column widths and dates and so forth. So you can adjust this is basically an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can just print your information out as needed from here, or maybe you want to generate some charts and things like that. But it's basically, it allows you to export the sequence. If you saw that, let's close this, don't need to save that either. But it's taking this sequence view by machine. So you could say, well, for this machine, what's in its queue? Now it gives me just a chronological view of the activities for each individual machine center. So it gives me a list of the operations. It's kind of the same as this view. Okay, if you think about it, in other words, it does this, then this, then this, then this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So it's basically taking these values and then sorting them in more of a tabular format this way. So it's just a different view of basically the same data, but you're looking at one machine center or one work center at a time. Okay. So that we basically then can print and deliver the report to our welder. So he has a list of what's coming up. 1 o'clock, love this one. The customer service rep calls and wants to know if the machining has started on a particular release production order. So at this stage, this is not so much a scheduling as it is teaching that customer service rep how to look at NAV and know the routing status. It's not a scheduling issue, it's basically a training issue, but let's take a look at it anyway. So if I was going to say to that service rep, I would come into my release production orders, I'd show them the list, and you want to know about the status of a particular production order. Just go into edit mode, very simple. Bring up the production order on your screen, look at the routing steps here, and you can see then that the machine department is in process. The CNC machine step, that's only planned. This is planned. So this one has started, so the first operation has started, and there's only 3 conditions. It's either blank, with 4 then, blank, planned, in process, or finished. So if a particular operation has finished, the status will change to finish, and it will indicate that as well on the Gantt view with some X marks on the lines of the production order. So it displays it there as well. But I think this is basically a kind of a training issue to use the NAV tools to give you the data that you want. Okay, so let's go back to our guide. So that was 1 o'clock, and what happens next? Okay, salesperson calls at 1:30 and says he has a really big order coming in next week. And he wants to know, the customer wants to know, when you can deliver the order. So here's what I recommend, is that you create a simulated production order. Sales guys say they got this big order, yeah, right, but you want to give them some good information, so we want to put in a simulated production order, schedule that production order, look at our quantities, the target dates, and then apply our scheduling to it. And notice I made a comment here, nav will infinite schedule the job from the delivery date or the requested delivery date, whereas with the production scheduler you'll calculate the delivery date instead of just using the backward calculations on the router. This is really cool. So let's take a look at this. You can read some of this in your study guide. I'm going to show this to you live in the software. Let me move the study guide out of the way, and we will do a simulated production order. So I'm going to go back. Let's just go to the Roll Center so you know where I am. So here's the home page, kind of the home page. I'm going to go to a simulated production order. I've got several others in here already, but I'm going to create a new one. So I don't know if I would do this while the customer's on the phone, although I think you'll see that it actually is pretty quick. So I'm going to put in a new production order. I'm simulating, remember, to see if we can deliver on a specific date. And I'm going to put in our FG606 item. And let's say they want 400, let's say 400. Okay, and he's requesting this by March the, we'll say Friday, March the 13th. Okay, so there is the date, and it now will tell us that the target end date is the 12th, and you will, but we need to refresh it because I'm putting it in manually rather than being generated from the MPS. So here's our order. We can look at the routing. Remember, the routing is going to tell us starting on the 12th and backing up, it's going to say the 26th. Okay, well, that's maybe a good date. Let's see if the scheduling tool says that we can actually do better than that, because it's potential that if we look at the schedule for this item, right now it's just in standby. Remember, it always puts it in standby first. Because we want the scheduling tool to actually consider all the other operations on the shop floor. There's a lot of other work going on the shop floor, so we have to kind of consider those other operations and be sure that we're not kind of stepping on toes. So let's just, and I can do this right from here. Now, before I showed you the schedule from the big board with all the other operations, but I can actually do the whole process right from this production order. So I'm right on this simulated production order, and we'll just come down and we'll run the schedule from here. Works the same way. So I'll say schedule, and it is now going to take this, here I push the button, it's going to take this production order and move it into the appropriate slots, and notice that it is mindful of the other work that is occurring out on the shop floor. But it notices that you can start actually pretty close to today's date. Okay, and then it says this one won't start until about the 17th, this starts about the 19th, then the last two operations are here for heat treating, then it comes back and it goes and gets packaged in the package department, and it finishes up, what does it look like? So it's about the 3.1, 3.2, somewhere in that range. If we roll over just a little bit here. Yeah, so the first, second, so about Tuesday the 2nd is about what it looks like. Now compare that 3.2 to what we have up here is ending date of 3/12. So we actually, by using the scheduling engine, can improve our delivery to the customer, and you can tell them right there, maybe you've got them on the phone. And you can say, well, it looks like based on the other work we've got out there in the shop, I can have that to you on about Tuesday the 2nd. Okay, and you can just announce that right then and feel very comfortable about it, whereas I get a little squeamish with these numbers that NAV provides simply because it is infinite scheduling. I want you to understand the difference there. It's definitely using infinite scheduling. So this is like an example of ability to calculate availability of the production order. Capable to promise kind of thing is what you're seeing with this simulated production order. I think that's pretty cool stuff. Okay, let's go on. 2 o'clock. You notice 2 RPOs for the same item. What you want to do is, as a scheduler, you want to run those together, even if they're for different customers. You apply what's called an order link, and because I'm running a little short on time here, I think I'll just mention that this is available, that you can actually link together specific production orders and tell them to run together, and then of course you publish schedule and publish. So if that applies in your business, use this thing called order link command, and we'll certainly cover that during the training. And I hope what you're seeing is, and part of the mission here today was to give you an overview of the product, make sure it's you're comfortable as far as ease of use, and that it will do some of the things that you're wanting it to do. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. 2:30, you're notified by purchasing department of a raw material delay of 8 days. Since this material is required on the first operational step, the entire order must be delayed. So what you want to do is set the fixed start date on the router step and then let the software adjust the schedule. This is easy to do. Watch. And let's not do it on this simulated because that's not in production. So I'm going to close out of this. We'll go back to our released production orders that are out on the shop. We'll pick one here at random. We'll just edit this production order. And I'm going to just go to the routing lines, and there's this, what I want you to see is there's this special field. Basically we're saying we're going to kind of fix the start date of this production order. Regardless of what this is saying, we want to go in here and manually put in a material fixed date, because certain material just is not going to be available until a certain date because they've told you. So you can say, well, you can't start until, let's say, the 25th. And when was this scheduled to start? Okay, the 2/13. Okay, so we're basically saying, okay, we're going to have to push this back to 2/25. Okay, and then when we approve that and okay it, of course our scheduling software is going to pick up that change. I mean, very, I can't even get there fast enough. So it's happening already in the background, and it's going to adjust that schedule. Okay, and I'm not sure who exactly would make that change. That's what these little diamonds up here are indicating, that there's a material fixed date, which is a fixed start date on this. So potentially that has changed. I didn't look at it before, but that's what that indicator is telling me, that we've got a fixed date set on this particular production order. So pretty cool being able to just automatically change things. And I could publish again. I could hit the schedule and publish, and it would make all those appropriate adjustments. 3 o'clock, your shift ends. Yay. So good for you. You've kind of gotten through the day at this stage. And I just want to summarize here as we kind of wrap up. Last couple comments. Everything that you've been seeing me do here uses what's called web services. Now, I did it all based in the embedded right in nav, but you can also do it through a browser. So if you want to put this on your iPad or tablet or notebook computer so you can carry it around, you can do all that just as easily and run the whole thing through a browser of some sort. It is bidirectional. So the publish, when you hit that publish button, we're basically updating any changes that you as a scheduler makes back into NAV, so it kind of runs the full circuit. I think you've seen it. It's fairly quick and easy to use. Hopefully I've demonstrated that. Comment about the graphical. When it's graphical, it's easy to understand. You start using this software and you can really understand what's going on. And the point two, full integration. Everything works right out of the box. It's simple to install this software. It takes less than a day. And we handle that for you as well. So very simple integration. There's no data replication or anything like that. We take care of all of the processes. It's fully embedded in your nav pages. You saw me showing like on a simulated production order. You scroll down, there it is. So there's no need to go to a third-party application to view the data. It's right there on screen. So I hope you like this software. Again, my name is Rick Baxter, Cost Control Software, and we would encourage you to contact us and request a full presentation if you feel that this should be pursued a little further. I hope you'll give us a call. Thank you for your attention today. Have a good day.